need to go to the config settings. This should be at serialized name, property file, public string and prop file, AWS prop file, serialized name. We want the bucket, public string bucket, and prefix, public string and prefix. How do you feel about security rolling on the computer in code? Scared somebody would steal? What am I scared somebody would steal the Java code that I'm writing? Or the stuff that I'm working on here? Like, I really could care. I mean, in a legal sense, yes, I would sue the pants off of anybody, but in a non-legal sense, like, I'm not worried about it too much. It's all copyright me, so whatever. Alright, so I have prefix blah blah blah. I need to go to this guy, so if conf.m settings.m AWS prop file equals null. No, I need to check if AWS EC2 and m settings m prop file. Yeah, let's just have it. If EC2 is true, then we're going to. This could be a new. What is it? The instance profile credential provider. Finish stage patent. What? Well, I guess I've written this code, at various jobs so many goddamn times that, and I've had to throw away so much stuff that, like, there's no freaking point to any of this. Like, it is what it is. Yeah, in patenting software, like, people don't sue over patents for software, like if they're large companies or something, because they get absolutely screwed. Like if you're Amazon or something, you're holding on to patents, and they go into patent negotiations. So like Amazon had to negotiate patents with IBM or whatever the hell because of virtualized servers, right? So they basically just all those lawyers go into a room and then they come up with a number based on the patents that they hold to just settle the whole goddamn thing. And Amazon doesn't sue, like, those big companies don't sue individuals because they will never win in court. Other larger things like, whatever the hell it was. But it's almost impossible to prove, like, patent infringement on code stuff. I mean, hell, just look at, like, what, Google versus Oracle, like, the same damn names and everything else. Game goes gold, somebody steals before it's released, now they own it. I mean, you would have to steal the whole damn source base. Like, you can't just stitch together pieces of a game and get it to work. I mean, you'd have to like steal all the art and like everything else too. And if you've already got the ability to do all that stuff, then Jesus Christ. And I don't know. I don't think that's a real world situation. All right, so F's history is null. I mean, the only like real shenaniganry there that I've ever known about was, you know, like if you're trying to release something in China or somewhere that has crap copyright restriction laws, they go just steal all your shit and just release it. And there have been things where people have, you know, stolen source code dumps and stuff like that and gotten away with it, but you know, it's been like people that like leave a company and steal source code and things like that. I haven't ever encountered a situation where we were really scared that somebody was going to copy our product and release it before us, because then they'd have to have pretty much the same size team and money and everything else, and like usually we own the intellectual property, so then we just sue the hell out of them if they use the same intellectual property or whatever. I don't know. I would ask you to provide some examples if you know of anywhere that has specifically happened and then people got completely hosed as a result. Just embed your name into every non-executable instruction. Well, they could just, you know, take that out. They call me all the time asking about my Windows. Are you talking about scammers that are always just like, you listen to me, I'm from Microsoft, and you go install this product to critical security vulnerability update. Oh no, you've been hacked. You'll have to send me money for the extra super Microsoft Windows package upgrade. Yeah, even my mom knows to like tell those people to shove it. It's hilarious. One of them called her and was like, "You listen to me," and she's like, "No, you listen to me," and just like got all super pissed at him. I was like, I was like, that's pretty cool. Alright, so because I have written all these amazing functions before, I've got this cool thing like get files and folder recursively and like all the rest of that bullshit. So I can access S3 just like a file system, even though the API for S3 does not do that worth garbage at all. So I need to find all the JSON files that are on S3 in a specific directory. I actually have got recursive stuff that'll actually go find all that shit for me. So the root is going to be the conf m settings.m prefix plus slash conf.m settings.m context. So conf m settings m bucket. So what is this? The array list of WD S3 files. Oh yeah, the one where the guy like set up a bot that just kept calling him and be like, "Hello, You are a spammer. We are. Yes, that was an amazing thing. All right, so since this is working off of another thread here, do we have our thread jobs and like all this other crap that I can do? Yeah, let's show off some multi-threaded bullshit here. Nah, let's not. Fuck it. Nah, why not? All right. So let's do a thread pool loader. Let's give it a maximum of like 5 threads. Yeah, let's give it 5 threads. We can do this. So I've got some cool stuff written out in Java. So I can do this thread pool executor. So basically, for every one of these, I can add a new job to run on this thing, and I can call executor.wait completion. Alright, so atomic, boolean, failure. And then we can just do this stuff. So I'll get a final on here. Failure.set true. Alright, so if failure.get equals true, return false. Or return null. Yeah, I don't know what that video is called, but I would definitely suggest watching it. Because they get like more and more pissed off. And see, this is the cool part about having all this stuff. Is I can just have all the downloads be async, and then I can have all the loads be sync. Alright, so we need a hash map of string to config values. So I can just patch all that trash down there and do it. It'll work. So yeah, so that's a multi-threaded downloader that'll parse everything, so we'll do everything properly. And I really wish they had like these convenience functions that I've made for all this stuff. Like, I've got everything so I can download an object as a string in memory and like all this other stuff which doesn't really exist. So there we go, our multi-threaded loader is ready to go for our config system. So let's start using it. Alright, so create default config, create default config. Alright, so this is going to be if EC2 is true, then we need this. Alright, so this is going to be if the property file is null, use this other thing, otherwise use this. So I'm going to say EC2 is true in my config file, and we should load this all from AWS. There we go. We now load all of our data from AWS, and all we have to do is toggle this true or false, and we're good to go. Awesome, so our config system is finished. Does Unreal have a server component API, or is this from scratch? It has an online subsystem for dealing with like Steam and other platforms, which works pretty well. It doesn't have like a back-end server system though. Like there's no like Unreal.net or something as far as I'm aware of. I mean, I think Unity has some of that stuff in there, but I don't know if Unreal has it. But yeah, a lot of this is kind of from scratch, but it's not really from scratch because there's not really a whole hell of a lot in there. And Unreal's client server stuff is mainly for game server to game client, which is not what I'm doing. Alright, so config system nailed down. Should I get some sort of credential system just set up? I mean, I gotta like do a whole bunch of bullshit for that. But it's credentials. I'm gonna need it if I need database stuff. Like that's just, I should just do that next. Alright, so I need credentials. Credentials. So I will be right back. Alright, so I need to get credentials here. I think that's going to be the next thing. So the credentials are basically identical to the config system, except they are encrypted. So it's really just a post pass on the data. So we want like the config loader. Like once we've actually loaded the configs, we need to then call like KMS and decrypt everything. So I guess it's literally like this exact thing, except we're gonna use KMS. Hello, Novice Styles. I'm working on setting up kind of the bare bones for kind of a game server sort of thing. So the game I'm working on is this game, and I'm currently working on setting up kind of a backend server for that, which would be available for performing basic operations that we're going to need to do, like if we need to store some data somewhere and all that. So I need to figure out how to do that. So credentials are the next thing. I'm also very hungry. I'm actually cooking some toast, which I will then eat. Unreal does not have a Java SDK. It is C++. Alright, so we can encrypt a material in our data and all that stuff. We will encrypt to base 64, decrypt from base 64, decrypt, encrypt, all that. So it looks like we're going to have to call a whole bunch of stuff to do this. Yeah, I use Jenkins to build everything. Most definitely. And we got continuous integration. It's only 2 people on our team, right? But that's it's good stuff. Yeah, sorry, I had stuff I was talking about. What's the build time on this? You mean the build time on the C++ thing? Java build times are like instant. Like a full build for my entire Java thing is like I just went and got this set up just a little bit earlier in the stream. But here's the build for just the server stuff, and so it's like it's compiling it, and then now it's creating a runnable. So like it already finished building, now it's just packaging the thing, and all that. So like our Java build time for our whole thing, even though it's a whole collection of tons of shit, is we'll see when it finishes. It's just building this single jar file. There you go, 37 seconds. So that's for our build time. Whoops, I need to not get rid of the entirety of Twitch there. Yeah, my build times for Unreal itself, the Unreal project, it looks like it takes about 20 minutes or so to actually build and package and do all that. So what does this build and test reliably all your software? Yeah, well, if it was a big problem, I would do all that. Oh yeah, the Unreal stuff, like I've already got all the caching and everything like that on my build system. Like the slowest part of the build system is it's just packaging the damn deliverable up and like copying it to the share drive and like all that sort of stuff. Like the actual build time on the thing, like I do, you know, like some clean operations too. It's not actually a problem. I worked on a lot of build systems at Amazon and at EA and everything else. So like I've written my own like file copy systems because usually the slowest thing is like, you know, mirroring a Perforce or Git directory over somewhere else, and you can save a hell of a lot of time just by writing a smarter file copy system. So, but yeah, thanks for the advice. Alright, so if I'm going to do KMS stuff, how do I want to get this working? What do I want to be the source for my credentials? When we were at Amazon, basically, for our credentials, we had this system called Odin. You guys auto-post to WordPress? No, we're not. I'm not sure what your question is there. Oh, if you're looking at some of the tools and stuff that I put together there, I mean, there's other things. There were basically, I had to write some quick tools to help with some of the WordPress stuff. When my partner in crime, Adam, needed to migrate his site, a whole bunch of the links were completely screwed, and it was going to take him like, you know, 6 hours to go through the database and fix everything. So I just wrote like simple tools to crawl the database for him and do all that. So all sorts of little things. Let me even see what that is. Yeah, it was basically like fixing all the posts for everything. So it was basically just running some SQL statements, but actually running some logic on top of it, all that. Well, if you're interested in the server architecture stuff that I was going over earlier, this is the architecture. Yeah, protobuf. Yeah, I got the TCP wire protocol is we're gonna generate our protobuffer messages and all that stuff. So if you're curious about that, we've got a C++ client, which is going to be Unreal 4. We'll probably do an OAuth login flow over HTTP with kind of a... I build systems like this for a living. Well, so do I. I built servers for EA and Amazon and everything for 8 years. So I've built a few things in my time. But yeah, so C++ client doing OAuth login with our auth server over SSL, you know, SSL termination on the load balancer, that whole ball of wax. Especially since I'm running on Amazon and I don't have a huge infrastructure, that's gonna be pretty easy. Yeah, it really is boring stuff once you do it enough. It's just like, Jesus Christ, this is not the hardest thing in the world. It's just, I gotta write this code for the second millionth time. And then once we've done like that auth flow, you know, we just have like an auth cache sort of bullcrap. Well, the thing is, I don't want to be dealing with SSL certs and stuff like that. I don't want to have to go buy any. I don't want to deal with that. So like Route 53 and all that with the, you know, they've got their own SSL cert authority thing for the load balancer. So that's real easy. I don't ever have to deal with that crap. Well, the it's real nice with theirs, but Let's Encrypt would be what I would be using otherwise, because it's what works. Anyway, so yeah, auth cache thing, we do a handoff, then we connect over TCP, do, you know, your own call over the load balancer, get secret keys shit. Yeah, well, I'm getting free SSL certs for the load balancers and everything, so it's not a price issue, it's more of a convenience one. It just kind of works. So I got no reason to change that at the moment. That would only be if I wanted to not use like elastic load balancers. But anyway, that's the architecture right there. It's just, you know, we'll be running it on one box to start with, and like the relay server will be embedded in the app server, and the auth server will be all the same process to start with. But, you know, just load balancer, single box, memcache running on it, MySQL off on RDS. It's real simple. And this is the same architecture that like I used at Amazon, and like we already did a whole hell of a lot of pen testing and architecture reviews with AppSec and the InfoSec guys and all that sort of crap. So I know the architecture's solid, because, you know, we were handling all the datas for all the things. Yeah, protobuffer's definitely the best option here. Like, I was always pissed off at the Amazon dudes who wanted to use flat buffers, because flat buffers like completely screws up all your security. Like, yeah, I've used protobuffers for like, I used it back on Dragon Age Legends for everything. It's faster, sure, but it throws away the security. Like, as far as I read into the source code for flat buffers and everything else, like it's a hell of a lot harder to use, because you have to like do everything inline in code. So it's a real pain in the ass. And then it also just like reflects everything out of like the binary stream instead of actually doing any checking. They also don't have any sort of information as to if something was set or not, so you don't know if it was a 0 because they set it to a 0, or if it's a 0 because they didn't set anything at all, which is just like, oh god damn it, you guys, like that's not helpful for wire protocol. Yeah, I've looked at Captain Proto and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, I've never had any problems with proto buffers, and I've used it for all sorts of crap. I've used it for, we actually used it as the database format when we were storing binary data for Dragon Age Legends, because it was so flexible. And it was like, the proto buffer was never the slow part, so it just didn't matter. Everything else was slow. So it's a real simple system. Hopefully we can get away with, you know, 20 or 50 to 60 bucks a month on it, and we'll scale it out from there if we need anything. Yeah, the biggest thing I always ran into with proto buffers was, how many users are we thinking? Well, we're just going to run like a simple box. We're probably going to get somewhere around like 5,000 transactions per second with our server architecture and everything. So that's going to be plenty for the systems we're doing. So even if like 100,000 people showed up, we're going to run out of TCP connections before we run out of throughput. So we'll just, you know, we can just shard out the, you know, throw the auth server on another place, throw the app server on another place, throw the relay server on another place, get more load balancers, DNS the hell out of it, and we'll be good to go. So I don't expect that many people. Tune the box. Well, I want to run on like nickel-plated toasters from the 50s, so I'm not tuning anything. I'm just throwing, $5 a month at it, $5 at a time. Do they have bottlenecks for file descriptors? It depends on how you're doing your TCP stuff. For me, what I've got going on is I've got an async selector server going on. So we basically have like one main. Yeah, Linux has 124 for most user accounts. It's true. You need to up that U limit because you want that. So yeah, we run a selector server, so it's got a single thread for all the network communication, incoming, accepting, and reading, and decryption, and all that stuff. And then you have like your other thread for sending data back, and then you've got all your worker threads for processing your messages that are put on there. Java doesn't have like fibers or something, so we got to have like a message pool, a message buffer with a thread pool that works on all those. The thread pool that works on them also completes the message back to the user. Um, this selector server stuff, you're basically it's the operating system limits that are going to run into here. I've tested these up to um, with systems over like 500,000 connections and stuff like that. It's always the operating system that blows up first. So especially Windows goes straight to shit after a lot of concurrent TCP connections, but that's not really a problem. You're not really running Windows servers in production for any of this crap anyway. You're running Linux if you're got any. You're running Linux unless you're running game servers, in which case you're sharding those out anyway. Yeah, we're gonna run Windows server. If we were gonna run like game servers, yes, the game servers would probably be Windows. But we're just running Amazon Linux for everything else because it's cheap as fuck. And that's the other thing. A lot of people using Java don't use async HTTP, which is just really sad. Like I've got an async HTTP server here, which uses the reactor setups. So we have like a certain number of read threads and a certain number of all that, and we can actually do, like async HTTP completions, which are not things that people usually do. Yeah, that's the thing is like all the like Tomcat and all that crap. Like I don't think until like maybe this year or less have they had like async HTTP operations for servers. So you're sitting there with a thread per goddamn HTTP connection, and it's the same thing like at Amazon. Like you store everything in the thread local context and pass it down, and it's just the most wasteful piece of garbage on the planet. So that was one of the things. Do they support HTTP too? I don't think so. Oh man, yeah. There's stuff there, but yeah, there's like an actual async HTTP server is loads and loads faster than sync TCP shit. I mean synchronous HTTP. So that's what I got running on. Oh yeah, you should. We could definitely get over 10K connections on HTTP. That's nothing, but like when it at Amazon or something, like having that many connections is like having that many threads, and you're just screwed because you can't have 10,000 threads on something and have it not perform like a pile of trash. Yeah, a lot of Java stuff. Like I absolutely hate Java engineers, like because they always program stuff really really dumb. They don't do async. They don't do blah. They hook up 2 million layers of crap. So yeah, there's a lot of that where there's just a lot of old crufty bullshit, and everybody like hooks it together, and it's just forms an even larger pile. It's like South Park, get back to the pile. It's like, love of Christ. Yeah, I absolutely hate all that crap. Like the whole like Java beans, and then like you got Spring and Rue, and just like all this other bullshit. It'd be like, no, dude, just like make a new object and run it. Yeah, the thing that I would really want is I want fibers for everything on here. That would be my. That would be my. That's why I really like working at EA with fibers for all of the Blaze and Plasma backend stuff in C++. That was super awesome. Wrote just like super goddamn efficient stuff. Like the like say like FIFA, the FIFA games. I don't know if they still do, but when I was there doing C++ stuff there, we'd have like 300,000, 400,000 concurrent users on FIFA at any given time, and there's basically like one cluster of 6 machines that would be handling that entire thing. And that was some pretty cool stuff to work with. Anyway, what do I want to do for my credentials? So when I was working on another thing, I'm not sure about the hardware, specifically for the front there, but they had EAIT that wouldn't handle that crap with rack space, and so I never really saw the absolute front end of that. I just did the programming stuff. IT guys were over in London or whatever the hell, because you hate rack space. Well, you can't really hate rack space when they give you a Dell R720 for $500 a month with free bandwidth and all that. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Bandwidth is built into that thing. So that $500 a month got you the server and the bandwidth. So it was good stuff. Alright, so when I was at Amazon with credentials, we had a system that would actually manage it, so syncing them down was a problem. So I need to have a place where I have my credentials that I can actually access them. Does Password Safe have a fucking API? Well, I use Password Safe on my computer for like all my passwords, and I've got that safe, on like a share drive that I can access from all my machines, including like the build machine. It'd be kind of nice if I could just read that in. So that's easy for me to organize. Because what I'm going to do for the credentials is basically like, I'm going to, get credentials. I'm going to use KMS to encrypt them. I'm going to store them on S3, and then at runtime, call, load from S3, decrypt using KMS, and then use credentials. I'm not using Ruby. Sorry. It's not gonna happen. These are programmatic credentials. So this is where you would actually store other things. And the problem is I want to not just have like some JSON file with a whole bunch of every password ever on a shared drive. It's real fucking sloppy to do that. Looks like there is a Java password safe thing. That'd be pretty convenient to use. So let me see if this stuff actually has got anything. It actually got the source files for this thing. These are not the source downloads. Alright, well I should be able to download the source code for the Java password safe thing, and then I could just use password safe and store all my stuff as I have been already, and then I can just store everything in password safe and we'll be good to go. because that's what I'm using for my own passwords. I might as well just use it for the other things as well. That'd be pretty cool. So let's see, they've got their lib file. Let's see what they do. So they've got password safe, crypto data store, exception file. We got a file input stream. Yeah, what's their license for this thing? Artistic license 2.0. Let's see, this says you can use it for commercial use, you may modify, you may distribute it, you may sub-license, and you can use it for private use. You must rename if you're going to do something else, you must state changes, you must include the original copyright, and install instructions. Alright, so if I'm running this in my build system, that's not a fucking problem at all. And what libraries are they using? Blowfish, Commons Logging, JUnit, and S3. Why the hell are they using S3? Let's see if it can actually build. Hey, it actually built. So we just made our password safe -lib.jar out of our source. Let's see what we can actually do with it. I love without a doubt, there are plenty of bugs. Package structure may change. Blowfish package is available. Version 200 is used. Other versions may have issues, however, before you need to use it. This is the most insecure version of password safe there is. When a file is read, it is stored in memory in plain text format, and so is the file's password. That's not a problem, it's a fucking build machine. You shouldn't use this with any real password safe files that you can't recover should this software do horrible things. Gotta love these readmes when they're actually written by people who... There is no UI. Alright. Well, let's try it out. Let's just fuck everything up. So I think I've already got the bouncy castle provider. I probably need the blowfish stuff. And I think I've already got commons logging and all that garbage. JUnit, I don't really give a shit about JUnit. Alright, so we'll grab our test driver here, make it. So I'm going to go actually make a example password safe. Alright, so I'm going to make a new test safe on my desktop. The safe combination will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Weak password. That's fine with me. Alright, so let's just have a title of test credential, username of test username. We'll have a password of test password. Alright, so we have our test credential for our test password safe. So let's do our string, our safe location. This is what test safe. Yeah, okay. So string safe password equals 155. String user or credential test credential. All right. Alright, so let's figure out how in the hell I'm actually going to use this library. So I can look at their unit test to see how they use this stuff. Gotta love their password. Alright, so it is